First new this morning, the uncle and brother of the family recently killed in the South Valley, the Griego family, took to national airwaves to talk about the whole ordeal.
And we have the video for you this morning. News 13's David Romero is live in a Newsplex. So David, what did Eric Griego have to say?
Well, Matt, Eric Griego appeared on the Dr. Drew show last night to talk about the horrific murder of his family. Eric Griego is a former state senator and Albuquerque city councilman. Investigators say his brother Greg Griego, along with Greg's wife, 9-year-old son, and 2 daughters, both 2 and 5 years old, were gunned down by their son and brother, 15-year-old Nehemiah, on Saturday morning. Investigators say Nehemiah was upset with his mother and when she fell asleep, shot her and continued to shoot the others. Nehemiah is now facing 5 murder charges. On the Dr. Drew show, Eric Griego commented on the whole investigation process.
Why did he do it, Eric?
I wish we knew. We haven't even asked that question. And for a sheriff, a law enforcement officer of a major American county to report on the news, which was carried internationally, that it was because he was angry at his mother. He was, you know, it's a level of irresponsibility that's unimaginable.
Investigators say Nehemiah was also a big fan of violent video games. They also are questioning his 12-year-old girlfriend, who they say Nehemiah spent most of the day with after the killings. Back to you.
All right, very interesting information there, David. Thank you for sharing. Now, prosecutors do want to basically try Nehemiah Griego as an adult. However, if he is found guilty, a judge could sentence him as a juvenile, which means he would get out of jail when he turns 21. And Eric Griego and the rest of his family is now getting ready for what is sure to be just one emotional funeral later this week.
That's right. Calvary of Albuquerque, the church where the Griego family went and where Greg Griego, the father, was a pastor there for many years, had a vigil for them last night. Head pastor there, Skip Heitzig, said he was very fond of the family. He shared stories of Greg's days as a pastor. He also talked about his son, 15-year-old Nehemiah Griego, who is now charged with killing the family. He too attended church there, and Pastor Heitzig said last night that Nehemiah is not a monster and that if he's guilty, he can be redeemed, according to the pastor here. The Griego funeral will be held this Friday at 2:30 in the afternoon at Calvary of Albuquerque. In some other news this morning, the so-called Arroyo Molester is waking up, convicted of that crime.
Yeah, he's now waiting to see how long he's going to spend in prison after a jury found him guilty of raping a boy back in Albuquerque in 2003. Renato Sandoval's jury took just about 24 hours to come back with this verdict yesterday after prosecutors said they had DNA evidence proving he lured an 11-year-old boy into an arroyo back in 2003 and raped him.
We find the defendant guilty of criminal sexual penetration, child under 13.
We'll find out how long Mr. Sandoval should spend in prison in April. It could be as much as 41 years. He is also accused of raping 5 other young boys. Those cases set to go to trial at a later time. Well, the police officer here in Albuquerque accused of being involved in tasing, beating, and stepping on a man he was trying to arrest, set to be in court this afternoon. Connor Rice, his lawyers, prosecutors, and a judge will all talk about the case where that man is charged with aggravated battery. This is after investigators say this lapel camera video that we got a hold of caught him and 2 other officers being too rough on people they were trying to arrest. Now, the last we heard, Rice was on administrative leave. The other 2 officers were on desk duty. Well, the latest man accused of stealing cars and running what's commonly called a chop shop here in Albuquerque still in jail right now.
And police say the way they caught him is actually helping them catch even more thieves of bigger crimes. Officers say 43-year-old Eloy Silva broke into and drove away in a bait car that was parked about 50 feet away from what they say was his chop shop near Bridge and Coors in the South Valley recently.
An individual entered the bait car and drove it into his yard, and before officers could respond, he had already started to dismantle parts of the bait car.
Police say by waiting and letting thieves take cars, they often find other stolen cars that are getting stripped down for parts, and that's exactly what they say happened with this guy right here.
When officers finally took him into custody, they noticed remnants of other vehicles that led them to believe that this is possibly a small-scale chop shop.
Well, officers suspect the cars and parts on Silva's property were indeed stolen.
The FBI wants your help to find a man who robbed a bank in Albuquerque yesterday. This guy did not do too good of a job here hiding his face. Take a look. It's when he robbed the U.S. Bank on Montgomery in San Mateo yesterday afternoon. Agents say the man gave the teller a note demanding cash. He got it and then took off. And in Santa Fe, crazy video of a man attacking police officers after they say he was jaywalking. Take a look at this dash cam video we got from police. It is Tuesday. It's after officers say Christian Barney was jaywalking on Cerrillos Road. They told him to stop, but he didn't, so they tried to stop Barney, and that's when they say, look at this. He swung and punched the officer in the face. Barney is still in jail with a $5,000 bond. Crazy, Elizabeth.
Accused child killer Noe Torres is now set to go to trial in May after not showing up to court to hear the latest list of charges against him. A grand jury indicted Noe Torres earlier this month on 4 additional counts in connection to the drive-by shooting death of 10-year-old Carlos Perez in 2005. In addition to the charge, Torres also faces 2 counts of conspiracy, shooting into a dwelling, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. The little boy was asleep in his bed in his Clovis apartment when he was shot in the head. Deputies say that his brother was the intended target.
An 18-year-old still in jail here in Albuquerque. Get this, after police say he attacked his own mother with a samurai sword. Police say Eric Mason here got upset when he found out his mom was using meth and heroin. That's when they got into a fight, and police say he bit his mom, then grabbed a 3-foot-long samurai sword and cut her with it.
The Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies now have some new tools that they hope will help them crack down on dozens of cases that have gone cold. Anyone around the world can now access the department's website, where they can see the profile of every victim of unsolved cases and leave tips. The department will also be handing out a deck of cards to inmates so they can give information that may also help to solve some crimes. This morning around 9, the city of Hobbs is scheduled to announce their selection for a new police chief. We'll, of course, keep you updated on that list. And one New Mexico county has hired a new deputy, and chances are you know who this is. The Las Cruces Sun News reports that Steven Seagal, yes, Steven Seagal, the actor, was sworn in as Doña Ana County deputy on Tuesday. He's considered a reserve deputy and can only work with a commissioned peace officer. Seagal is filming a movie called Force of Execution in Albuquerque right now. And you know, he actually starred in a reality series called Lawmen at one point, where he worked as a fully commissioned deputy in Louisiana. I think those are clips of that reality show, right?
It is.
Yeah.
They are.
Very interesting. Okay. Well, that happens from time to time. You know,
they
will make
Shaq.
honorary sheriffs.
Shaquille O'Neal, you know, the big basketball
Yeah.
star. He's an honorary sheriff's deputy up in a county in Massachusetts.
That's right. And also in Florida, in Orlando.
Wow, look at him.
Orlando area.
Go